How is it going today?
Well,
it's Dwayne.
My name's Jasmine.
We're Dwayne N Jazz. Today we have for you heavy spoilers, Squid Game.
Things you missed and hidden details.
Yes, because you know how many times we try to do that, and I kept tongue-tied.
Lord.
Anyway, Squid Game has been really taking over, and we saw it. I remember I showed Jazz the trailer. You played it last night.
Yeah, I showed you the trailer.
No, I showed you the trailer.
I showed you that.
I showed you the trailer, Jazz.
I saw the red light, green light, and I was like, yo, look at this.
I showed you the trailer. Right, tell me I saw a red light, green light. I'm the one that, you were in my room and I was like, check this out. Now, are you starting to remember it now? Huh?
Oh, I showed you the other one.
Yeah. Alice in Borderland?
I showed you Alice in Borderland.
Right. I definitely showed you Squid Game. And I was like, this is going to be fire. You know you like them battle royales, right?
I sure do.
Okay. I just had to, because I had to look at Jazz. I was like, I remember exactly how it happened. Because I was like, this show's going to be fire.
We watched it a long time ago. Like, we watched it a while ago.
Yeah, when they first came out, me and Jazz binge watched it that whole weekend.
Yeah.
And it was fire. I was like, yo, and then it just everybody else started watching, and we was like, yo.
Well, we was telling everybody else.
We was like, that's on fire.
Like, yo, y'all gotta watch it.
It's a good show. You guys should check it out. Anyway, we're just gonna go check this video out to see all the stuff that we might have missed.
Yes.
And clues and stuff, because you know us. We like.
So
if
you didn't see it, go
watch it. It's on
then
Netflix.
Come back to the video.
Yep.
Okay.
Anyway, if you guys have any reaction requests, please follow social media in the link in the description below. Don't forget to
subscribe
and like the video. Let's dive on in.
Okay, so did you know that the players in Squid Game could have actually seen what games they'd be playing before they even played them? Between the matches, the characters were all placed into a room filled with bunk beds.
On the wall?
Yeah,
just
on
like
the wall.
A rest area, if you look
the
at
bunk
walls,
beds
they're
covered
actually
it.
Filled with significant markings.
What?
As the beds
I
get
told you
slowly
that.
stripped away, it's revealed
I told you that. It covered it. It covered all the
playing
beds.
throughout the
Covered all the
tournament.
games they were
First
gonna
is
do.
red light, green light. There's also the honeycomb game, tug of war. The
I told you that when I saw it.
The three at the table, and lastly the titular Squid Game.
You told me like one, right?
I told you.
But I didn't know all the games.
Yes, I said when the beds were covering. We was watching. I was like, oh, the beds were covering the games. That's exactly what I said.
Wow, but I didn't. We've been watching this, and we didn't. But when we were watching, we didn't even peep it though.
I did. That's why I said it.
I think you said it. I don't remember you saying it. Okay.
As soon as it was revealed, of course you can't see when the bed's there, but
right.
as soon as it was revealed, I was like, oh, it's showing all the games that they're gonna play. And then I said it to you. You said, oh yeah, that's true.
Oh yeah,
so
yeah.
Like,
I forgot. I totally forgot that you said that. I'm sorry. I totally forgot. I totally forgot you said that.
It's filled with clues to the eventual reveals, and this is also the case with the player who's behind the entire thing. It's absolutely mind-blowing, and throughout this video, we're going to be breaking it all down, but I just want to give a huge spoiler alert for the series. If you haven't checked it out, then this is your chance to quit playing, but if you want to continue, then I hope you thumbs up the video, and also
I get
subscribe
a chance
to the
to
channel.
quit playing.
But out of the way, thank you for clicking this. Now let's get into Squid Game. Okay, so at the end of Squid Game, we learn that it was Nam all along. The final episode reveals that he invented the games as a form of entertainment for him and his rich buddies who had become bored with life. We learn that he had actually got involved in the one that we see in the show because he was dying and wanted a final bit of fun in his life before it was too late. The ending was absolutely incredible.
It was.
And the scene had Ji-hun saying goodbye to the character as he lay on his deathbed. This last meeting actually reflected their first one, in which he too encountered the character as he sat in a bed. It was a pretty big twist that pulled the rug out from under your feet.
It did.
But eagle-eyed viewers might have spotted early on that there were several clues pointing towards his true identity.
How?
The first one is that he is number one, the very first player. If we look at the subtext of the series, Ji-hun is the final number, and throughout we watch as he very much works his way to first place, aka Nam. In the final episode, he's left as number one. He inherits a large portion of the character's fortune and comes face to face with him in one of the final scenes. One is symbolic on a number of levels, and because it's the first place, it also hints to us that Nam is number one and that he's the one controlling everything. In episode 5, Wang Jianho sneaks through the compound, and he eventually finds a storage room with files on all of the games that have happened over the decades. Upon opening the 2021, the first player there is actually number 2, and Ilnam's profile is completely missing. There is no file for number 1 because he
I didn't even peep that.
To keep a record
I thought he just
himself.
would get to the
players
yeah.
Also somewhat hint towards us that something is off with Ilnam, and though it's not too obvious, when you really think about it, he wouldn't be someone that would be selected for the process. Everyone else in the Squid Game is roughly the same age, whereas he's extremely elderly.
Yeah, but he could just be in
a
debt.
rare case, right?
Thus, even if he did win the life-changing money, it wouldn't last that long. Though he gives his reasons as to why he wants it, From what we know about the games and the players that have been selected in the past, they're all roughly between 20 and 40, and he's a complete outlier in all of this. Now, the games themselves are also major giveaways too. Throughout the series we watched, as he said, they were all things that he'd played as a child, and in retrospect it becomes blatantly obvious that he selected them himself because they're what he knows.
I mean, but it's things that everybody
each of them are something that he not only
though.
played as a kid, but they're also things that he's very, very good at. Now, the first thing they play is red light, green light. Whilst the other players are absolutely terrified for their lives, he gleefully struts about whilst the Terminator's back is turned, and even stops before it looks back to face the crowd. He knows all of the lyrics to the song that the machine sings, and therefore knows to stop in advance before it ends and turns back around.
I mean, but that's a strategy at that point.
Right.
You might also notice something different about him. The one directly to his left and all of the other ones to the side have a slight green overlay that appears over the top of them. If we look at the players to his right, outside of the girl crouching down beside him, this is also the case too. Everyone other than him in this girl's tracksuit appears slightly green, and I believe that this machine sees him without the glow because it's been programmed not to shoot him. If this theory is right, then he also has a protective ring around him that stops the machine from firing at people in his vicinity in case it misses, and that's why the girl to his right is also safe too. Immediately after this game, the players decide to cast a vote on whether they should end the tournament or not. He is the one who makes the choice in the end and casts the deciding vote to end the game. This subtly shows his power over the entire thing, and I actually think that he carried this out for a specific reason. He wanted to give the players a chance to walk away from it all knowing the stakes, and if they came back, then that would ease his conscience slightly as the choice was theirs.
That's what I really like about the show.
Yeah, shows that like you guys wanted this. So
though this seems like a very complex shape, there's not actually any bends in it like the circles or umbrellas. Though you might think it's easier to have the triangle's lines are longer, whereas the stars are shorter, so there's less to cut through before you hit an edge. Being completely honest though, yeah, the triangle is a pretty easy shape too.
Me.
But Ilnam didn't exactly have one of the difficult ones either. And next we jump to episode 4, in which a fight breaks out during the night. Throughout, Ilnam hides away from the carnage up on one of the bleachers, and he ends up begging for the fighting to stop. Even though up until this point it seemed like the front man was completely in control, he immediately sends the guards in because Ilnam requests it. And the clue is that his bed is the only one that isn't flipped, and this is because the guards likely know who he is. Next they play a game of tug of war, and because of their players, it seems like Ilnam's team are about to be sent to their death. However, he is the one who tells them how to win, and because of his guidance, they easily beat the much stronger team. Ilnam had clearly played the game hundreds of times before, and knew the best strategy to take. Any team with him was destined to win, and the fact his strategy works definitely proves this.
That seems so great.
Takes part is the marbles one, and this also has a lot of clues in it. Throughout it,
well, this one they never showed him being shot.
I said the same thing.
That's when we saw.
I said the same thing. Right.
We saw him actually die.
From his childhood, but the area does too. And unless the Squid Game organizers were psychic, then they'd have no way of knowing what his home looked like. Throughout the episode, everything he says is brushed away as the ramblings of someone with the disease, but knowing what we know, it becomes all the more obvious that he's in control. In the end, he seems to find his home, and personally, I believe that this is a perfect recreation of it. He's giving the game away because throughout the entire season, he's letting us know that all of the challenges and environments are based on things from his life. He lets Ji-hun win, and the character is then seemingly killed off camera.
See, off camera though.
Yep.
So we don't know.
At the gate that Ji-hun has just walked out of, we can see that he's no longer there, and though the rest of the court is filled with bodies, his is completely missing. And knowing what we know, a question you may have is why did Ilnam end up leaving the game at this point when he was still invested in playing? Well, the next game is the deadly hopscotch one, and this is by far the most unpredictable of the lot.
Goodness.
If he didn't end up getting put in last place, then there would be a danger that the person behind him could push him to his death, like what we see in the episode. There's also the possibility that due to his brain tumor, he may have forgotten along the way which glass to step on, and he simply couldn't risk it.
Yeah, he didn't want to
do that. Now that is, of course, a theory, but overall, going back and knowing what we know, I actually think the series becomes better on a second watch.
Now that I'm looking back at it, right? It just showed me like, wow, like that was like that, like when we saw the ending, right? And it was the old man still alive.
Yep, I was like, I knew that he wasn't dead, man, because they like anytime that you don't see them kill anyone on screen, it's like there's a possibility that they're not dead. So
I was like,
he might still be alive.
But I still felt bad though. I felt so bad
because like like you see an old person and like it looked like he had dementia and
I was like,
he was using that to advantage.
To like win.
Yeah, to be like, oh, it's odd, and then it was even. He was like, oh, what did you say? He was like, even. Like to try to switch the answers so that he could win. And then I felt bad, like because like the old man knew what he was doing the whole time, and then like confronted him and was basically like, yeah, so like you don't feel bad by trying to trick an old man, like because I was aware of what you were doing the whole time, acting like I didn't. And then I was just like, oh.
And then don't forget about Ali.
Don't even talk about that. He didn't deserve it.
Ali was so good.
He didn't deserve it. He was so clutch in the red light, green light, and that first
But I think the only reason why
because he didn't even have all his fingers.
Exactly.
He didn't even have all his fingers and held that man and stayed solid.
But I think the only reason he held him up was so that he didn't trip. He's
he probably would have tripped over.
Yeah, so I had to grab him up so I don't fall down. But he still was a good person.
But he still was clutch, he held that and he didn't even look down at him. He was just like holding him and just looking up. I was like, oh my god, the dude is clutch, man.
Yeah.
And then when the rocks came out, I felt so sorry for him. But at the same time, what would you do if you were going against him? You're not gonna die. You don't want to die.
Yeah.
But you don't want to, be mean either. But at the same time, it's like you got to figure out a way to win. And unfortunately, he tricked him, and that's what happened. But it was just
I'm excited for season 2. If they have a season 2,
I hope they do. It was alluding to it.
It felt like they was like it wasn't. They left like a little tease at the end. It was like, get on the plane. I'm like, yo, they still watching him? Of course they are. They're rich.
But you know what? It was so funny because people on Twitter was like saying that he's such a bad dad. And it made me laugh because they said at the end he was trying to board a flight to America so that he could go see his daughter.
Right.
But then when he saw somebody else getting like tricked into the game, that's when he decided to not go and then go and deal with the game again. It was like, yo, you're such a bad father.
Right.
And you gonna go to the game other than your daughter?
And he's like, and he wants to get revenge, but it's like, bro,
it's like your daughter, your father. That's the whole reason you went in.
You went in for your daughter, and on top of that, you signed the whole form. You signed the NDA that basically said, and then you left and came back.
Yep, you left.
Not only did you sign the NDA the first time, you left and came back. So you know what you was getting into.
You know what it is.
But he's still bitter. He's still mad. A lot of his friends and people they get connections with died. That I understand.
But he ain't have no connection with his daughter now. Now he ain't got no connection. He was about to get on that flight, but he decided not to. And he decided to just leave. I'm like, yo, come on.
Yeah, facts. Oh man. Anyway, guys, comment below. Let us know what you think.
Don't forget to like,
subscribe. Share some more.